Well, I decided I'd try to figure out what I'm going to do with the brakes here. I've got 3 master cylinders. I don't know what any of these are off of. Well, this is a brand new one. It's a 1-inch bore. It's been set out in the weather, but I've never used it. I had this one, which I was planning on using because it's got a little booster on it, but my helper decided he had to take a nap. This thing's about a foot long, a little 13 inches, but the booster seems to be not holding vacuum. I've got 2 ports in it. It's been protected, but since I don't know what it is, I can't find any ports for it, and it's kind of ugly. And I've got another one over here. This one's about 10 inches, 8 inches, and I've got some kind of a proportioning valve mess in here. That's probably a brake light switch or a imbalance switch or something. This one's still got fluid in it, and it's obviously they took it off of something that was wired in there right, or plumbed in right. And I've got one on this proportioning valve. I've got one line here for the rear, and I've got a left and a right for the front. So I think I can probably use this one. I would like to have power brakes on it, but this is a pretty small cylinder. You know, this is probably a 12-inch extension. You know, I'm this big. It's about the same size as this one, and 4 inches shorter than that one. So, in the interest of using what I got, I'd like to use this, but like I said, it is ugly. This one, you know, it'll set in there pretty decently. Won't be as big and ugly. And the other one's about the same size. I don't like plastic covers, but all said and done, I think this is going to be my best bet, because I am going to have a disc on the front, drums in the back, and I'm pretty sure that's what that's set up for. And I can probably sort these lines out, straighten them out, and get it to go down on a firewall. I'm going to measure the distance here on the back and see if I can get a little 7-inch street rod drum or booster like this one, But even if I don't, you know, that's a 7/8 cylinder. And they use a lot less foot pressure than this big old 1-inch one. And and I did move this when I put it in vise, and it's pumping fluid, so I'm pretty sure that's a good cylinder there. So I'm just going to move forward on putting that in there. I'll put a plate that's going to be, I think these bolts are 3.5 inches on center, something like that, to bolt to the firewall. So I'll put a plate that will accommodate the booster, and mount that, you know, bore the hole, mount that on the firewall. And then if I want to later, I can always take it off and I'll have the plate to mount a booster in. This will be my simplest way to go. Just put that one in, bend them lines around, mount that proportioning valve down inside the frame somewhere. So that's what I gotta do. I'll kind of try to straighten it up and clamp it in there. This one here just been, I just put a plate there and put one bolt hole in it and just put it up there. I'll do the same with this other one. We'll see what it looks like. Well, I clamped this up to the bench here good, and it's pumping fluid. I took these out of here, so I don't see nothing coming out of down there. I'm pretty sure this is a proportioning valve. I'm not too sure exactly how it works. It's got one switch here. Normally there's a slider in it. Makes contact with the ground if it's one place, if it's one way or the other. And I think that this one is a brake light switch. I'm not sure, haven't taken it apart. But it was all pretty much together, and it's got some kind of fluid in it, or at least the master cylinder did. So this may be okay. I'll clean it up and mount it anyway, because that gives me my 2 front brake lines and a rear brake line. This is a 15mm, which is kind of loose. Get an American here. 5/8, probably way too big. 9/16 maybe. I got my tools scattered all over the shop here. Well, I don't know. See if I can find a wrench that'll fit it exact. I'll just measure it. Let's see. 0.63. 16.1 millimeters, so I think it's American. Can't really. printed in English. Didn't see any other markings on it, but I don't have my close-up glasses on. Anyway, I'm sure this is a good master cylinder, and it's aluminum and light. It's not like that big heavy cast thing, and this probably works down here. If it don't, it don't. And I've got good enough lines to run something, so I'll plan on using this, but I got to get over here and finish mocking up these steering brackets first. Also, kind of another aside, I've got a couple of U-joints here. See, this one's missing some caps. That's a good one there. And I got 2 U-joints, oh, 4 U-joints actually. We've got another one here, and a whole bag of snap rings and brackets. I got them all for like 15 bucks. But it turns out that I had 2 U-bolts. Those are the 2 U-bolts I need. And that U-joint there on the bottom actually fits his rear end. So I've got some U-joint stuff to play with here. I have to go from this Ford to a Dodge, but at least I got the the start to finish fixing up this rear end. Well, here's my little bracket. Where these screws are go into the column. This comes over and bolts on the outside of the firewall. I decided I'd make it where you could take it off, because once you weld something back in there behind that firewall, kind of hard to get it out. Here's the first bracket I made. It was crooked, so I'd cut it off, make another one. But that looks pretty good, and it's not the easiest thing to put in or get out. You know, I've got 2 bolts fitting in 2 different directions, so it takes a little juggling, but it will come out. This is obviously way overkill for that little bracket I got bolting it on, but it just happened to be this was the right size metal. Really didn't need that much strength. It's just gonna keep the bottom of that steering wheel from flexing. The main heavy mounts up in the top. Anyway, I'll put this in, see what it looks like. Well, there's that installed, mounted. Looks like these are plenty strong. That's a 3 feet of 1-inch pipe, and I'm clearing the manifold here, and so I loosen that clamp. It's holding it there on top. Any spring that I have in it from tightening up will move. I've got it moves in these slots here on top, so I got a little up and back and side to side movement, but that looks pretty good. it's actually surprisingly solid, but I got a big plate in here. Anyway, now I'll start loosening up this stuff and find where it wants to go up in here, and we'll reclamp it again and mark our whatever we need. I know I need to put some bolts in it, clean it up some. I may have to make a bigger piece. First thing is get it straight. There's the results of that. Took quite a bit of bending and cutting and drilling. Looks like I got that bolt over there a little short. Those two are really close to interfering with each other up in here. But it's really strong. I didn't clean it up and paint it. I ran out of nuts, so I'm using lock nuts now. But anyway, that's all strong. And it's not flexing at all. I'll show you what I got here. Here's my steering shaft. It's coming to the center of the shaft, to the center of the frame right there. I got some more. There's quite a few steering pieces out there. I got this thing. And that's an extension, a slidable shaft. I probably got about 4 inches travel on it. And I know this is Ford. And I'm not sure whether this end is going to fit that drive on here or not. Looks like it might be a little bit big, but I'll figure that out because I want to use this. It's got a good U-joint in it, and it's just about long enough. That's the more or less the mock-up, and this is I can get an end for this, and if I use a 3/4 inch double D shaft there, I'll be good. I still can move that around up in there a little bit. I've got room in the holes. I just set it right now to where it was going to clear the manifold with that 1 inch piece. But I think this will work out here. It's in good shape. It was rusted shut, but I beat around on it and lubricated it and got it to work. So far I'm only going to need one Heim joint right there. I'll need some kind of connector up here, and that's probably a joint. But the turned out that the final resting place of this was just a little off of that hole, but it's The wheel's not really bolted on, but the steering column is not moving at all, maybe just a little. More than strong enough to drive the car. And up and down it's really strong. You can see it's only just barely moving that thing down there. I may put one more brace in it from the corner of this where it's mounted here. I may just put a brace over here to this 1-inch piece in here. Not sure, probably will, but there's Mr. Wheel. It's in and done. Looks like I got a little bend in something over there. Not to worry about that. So now I have to take that out of there and paint it, put it back. But I'm running out of nuts and bolts. I got lots of them. I ordered a bunch more, another 900 pieces or something. Problem is that you get lots of bolts. I got lots of grade 8s and little ones, but no nuts. I got plenty of lock nuts, but they're kind of hard for trying to use them to mock stuff up. Anyway, there's Mr. Wheel in. And solid. I guess the next thing will be to try to figure out if this piece is going to work down here, or figure out what I need to make it work. Look like it might be the same size as that. I'm going to take my calipers and measure it, and then I might as well figure out what I need to do on that before I get too carried away. I took this thing off. It's about a 1/2 inch. I measured it, and this is about 60 thousandths. They're quite a bit of difference. You know, one's a 1/2 inch, one's 5/8 or 3/4. 5/8. Let's see what we got here. 65 thousandths. I don't know how much that is in fractions, but it's a lot bigger than 1/2 inch. And that's what they had done. They had welded this 1/2 inch piece that fits the steering box onto one they had a lot of parts for. These are all pretty much 3/4 endings for rag joints and this and that and the other thing. It looks like all of the U-joints are pretty good in them. This one here, it's pretty long. You know, it's just about halfway. I may not, well, I wouldn't have to buy anything except for one heim joint. Whether I want to spend 35-40 bucks for one nice piece, or try to weld this stuff up. I'm sure this stuff would be good. But this seems to be the best for what I need here in the bottom. This one might be a little longer. Not sure. I think what I can do though is I'll see if I can find a stock part for a Mustang 2 steering box. This one actually, I don't know how straight it is. It's, possible to machine a little adapter there to get this straight. Weld another one on. But if possible, I'd like to get something that's factory, 1/2 inch to 3/4. I don't know how many spline that is or even how you count them. Normally you count all the splines in a circle. But I doubt if they have very many of them. I'll do a little digging on the internet, see if I can find a good piece for this, and something that'll go from that to this. And I got plenty of that stuff. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 good U-joints. So I won't have any trouble with getting a U-joint to work. 5, counting that other one. 1, 3 right there. 1 there, 1 there. 5 of them. More than enough for this. Looks like this top up here kind of a strange setup on it. Looks like 3/4. Let me see if I can get one of these and see if it'll fit. Yeah, this one went in. Not sure how it would hold it in. I don't really want to weld it. That's a piece of a rag joint. Anyway, got a lot of junk here. I have to try to find something off eBay. If I get that one adapter 1/2 inch to whatever this is, 5/8, 3/4. Then I can get my heim joint and I'll be done.